रो ही गाएंगे अभी तो मुझे लग रहा है। छोड़ो। अरे
कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुनतीरावनचारी यमुनतीरावनचारी जयो राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुनतीरावनचारी जयो राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जयो राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे जय गौरानिताय 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 जय गौरानिताय जय कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जयो सत्याभामा कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जयो सत्याभामा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय श्रील प्रभुपाद नमो विष्णुपाद परमहंस परविजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की ISKCON फाउंडर आचार्य BBT फाउंडर आचार्य सेवर ऑफ द होल वर्ल्ड विश्व गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की तुलसी महारानी की तैगोर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. So reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 4 and verse number 15. Yad kirtanam yad smaranam yadikshanam Yad kirtanam yad smaranam yadikshanam Yad vandanam yad shravanam yad arhanam Yad vandanam yad shravanam yad arhanam Lokasya sadyo vidunoti kalmasham Lokasya sadyo vidunoti kalmasham Tasmai subhadra shavase namo namaha Tasmai subhadra shavase namo namaha Yad kirtanam yad smaranam adikshanam Yad vandanam yad shravanam yad arhanam Lokasya sadyo vidunoti kalmasham Tasmai Shubhadra Shavase Namo Namaha. Yad Kirtanam Yad Smaranam Adikshanam
Sadyo vidunoti kalmasham
Lokasya Sadyo Vidunoti Kalmasham
Tasmai Subhadra Shavase Namo Namaha
Shavase Namo Namaha
Yat kirtanam yat smaranam yadikshanam Yat vandanam yat shravanam yadarhanam Lokasya sadyo vidhunoti kalmasham Tasmai subhadra shavase namo namaha
Yat kirtanam yat smaranam yadikshanam
Yad Kirtanam Yad Smaranam Yadikshanam
Yad vandanam yat shravanam yadarhanam Lokasya sadyo vidnoti kalmasham Tasmai subhadra shavase namo namaha.
Tasmai Subhadra Shavase. Synonyms: Yat, whose, Kirtanam, glorification, Yat, whose, Smaranam, remembrances, Yat, whose, Ikshanam, audience, Yat, whose, Vandanam, prayers, Yat, whose, Shravanam, hearing about, Yat, whose, Arhanam, worshipping, Lokasya, of all people, Sadhyaha, forthwith, Vidunoti, specifically cleanses, Kalmasham, effects of sins, Tasmai, onto him, Subhadra, all auspicious, Shravase, one who is heard, Namaha, my due obeisances, Namaha, again and again. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all auspicious Lord Shri Krishna, about whom glorification, remembrances, audience, prayers, hearing, and worship at once cleanses the effects of all sins of the performer. Kindly repeat. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all auspicious Lord Sri Krishna, about whom glorification, remembrance, audience, prayers, hearing, and worship can at once cleanse the effects of all the sins of the performer. Purport. The sublime form of religious performance to free oneself from all reactions of sin is suggested herein by the greatest authority, Sri Shukadev Goswami. Kirtanam, or glorifying the Lord, can be performed in very many ways, such as remembering, visiting temple to see the deity, offering prayers in front of the Lord, hearing recitations of glorification of the Lord as they are mentioned in Srimad-Bhagavatam or in the Bhagavad Gita. Kirtanam can be performed both by singing the glories of the Lord in accompaniment with melodious music and by recitation of scriptures like Srimad-Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. The devotees need not be disappointed in the physical absence of the Lord, though they may think of not being associated with Him. The devotional process of chanting, hearing, remembering, either of all of them or even one of them, can give us the desired result associating with the Lord by discharging the transcendental, loving service of the Lord in the above manner. Even the very sound of the holy name of the Lord, Krishna and Rama, can once surcharge the atmosphere spiritually. We must know definitely that the Lord is present wherever such pure transcendental service is performed. And thus the performer of offenseless Kirtanam has positive association with the Lord. Similarly, remembrance and prayers also can give us the desired result if they are properly done under the expert guidance. One should not concord the forms of devotional service. One may worship the form of the Lord in a temple, or one may impersonally offer the Lord devotional prayers in a mosque or in church. One is sure to get free from the reactions of sins, provided one is very careful about not committing sins willingly in expectations of getting free from the reactions of the sins by worshipping in temple or by offering prayers in the church. The mentality of committing sins willfully on the strength of the devotional service is called Namno Balad Yasyahi Papa Buddhihi, and it is the greatest offense in discharge of devotional service. Hearing, therefore, is essential in order to keep oneself strictly on guard against such pitfall of sins. In order to give special stress to hearing process, the Goswami invokes all auspicious fortune in this matter. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunlimitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Here the Shukadev Goswami is mentioning about glorification, remembrance, audience, prayers, hearing and worship of Lord Sri Krishna, what it can bring. It can at once cleanse the effects of all sins of the performer. In fact, you don't have to do all these things. Even the shade, even the shadow, even the glimpse, even the trailer, even the teaser, even the poster of such performance can cleanse the effects of all sins of the performer. That is the beauty. And the beauty of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, or ISKCON, the Hare Krishna movement, the founder Acharya our dear beloved spiritual master has institutionalized this entire process in his institution. Anyone being part of this institution by default will automatically, naturally, organically, or by whatever way is following all these things. We glorify him, we hear about him, we remember him, we pray for him, pray to him, worship him, and see his beautiful deity form. That is the beauty of an empowered acharya who can put the essence of all the Vedic literature, all Srimad-Bhagavatam, or specifically this verse, talking about this particular verse, in this institution. Simply being in this institution automatically will be sin-free. And only when you are sin-free, you can perform that devotional service which is expected of. Because devotional service cannot be performed in the other states. It's all in a different state. But the devotional service which Srila Prabhupada expects us to do, which is beyond the sinful reactions, is possible when we are sin-free. And automatically, by the default of the system set up by Prabhupada, we become sin-free. And when we become sin-free, the devotional service, what we render in the sin-free status, is on a different scale. Of course, all of us are rendering devotional service, but in Tamoguna, Rajoguna, and Sattoguna, it's tinged. But eventually, when you perform this devotional service in these three modes also, because the modes are not easy to overcome, it will keep influencing us. But the beauty of Prabhupada's institution and his process of involvement in his institution will make us so detached and purified that this effect of sinless devotional service or pure devotional service is a possibility. It's a reality. It's possible. Generally, we think it's not possible. Somehow, chal raha hai, kat raha hai, we are going on. But here Prabhupada assures, especially with this verse, that it is possible. And this verse is also another way to tell that you don't have to have a physical presence to do this. For somebody to glorify or somebody to hear about that person. Say, for example, recently we had elections, especially in Tamil Nadu, also in Bengal, in 5 states. So when we have the chief minister, we see him, we glorify him, we eulogize him, we worship him. Correct? That's what the common masses today are doing. So they need the physical presence of that person to do so. Correct? Without his physical presence, what will they do? There are many chief ministers much more popular than the current chief minister of Tamil Nadu. But the kind of glorification, prayers, worship to him is not done to the previous chief ministers because they are not physically present or having that positions. But in case of Lord Sri Krishna, that is not so, because even without his physical presence, all this can be done. That idea that physical presence is important is smashed to pieces by Shukadev Goswami. Correct? Agar kisi ko appreciate karna hai, worship karna hai, glorify karna hai, that person has to be there in front of me. So here Bhakti, Shukadev Goswami is telling that is not necessary. That is the beauty of the absolute truth, Sri Krishna. Similarly, come back to ISKCON, come back to 1977, come back to physical departure of Srila Prabhupada. Similarly, even without the physical presence of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, all these things what Shukadev Goswami is mentioning to be performed to the Lord can be performed to our beloved spiritual master. We can glorify him, we can hear about him, we can remember him, we can pray to him, we can worship him, and we can see him in the deity form. Just like Lord Krishna reciprocates in all these forms when a devotee renders this devotional service. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada is also doing that, and we are the witness of that Leela. Is it not? I just remember this pastime. Even during Prabhupada's physical Leela, Prabhupada was planning for this. Even before his physical disappearance, Prabhupada was planning for this. This was in 77 when Prabhupada was in Mumbai, about to depart, and in a very fragile health. Sri Vaishnava Sampath Bhattacharya, if I trust my memory, this is the name of that Sri Vaishnava devotee who wanted to meet Srila Prabhupada in Mumbai. from Bangalore, he flew to Mumbai just to meet Srila Prabhupada. That means the sense of urgency was there. He wanted to desperately meet him and tell him. Otherwise, he would have taken a normal mode of transport. And somehow he met Prabhupada, and then there were Prabhupada's disciples with him. And Prabhupada was talking to them, and he wanted a personal audience. Then Prabhupada said, they're all my disciples. I don't think so. You need to have personal audience. But still he insisted. So majority of them left the room. And Prabhupada always wanted to be with the disciples. That is his mood. Guru means guru with disciples. Correct? So anyways, a few of them senior were there. And Sampath Bhattacharya offered his obeisances and respectfully said, Your Divine Grace, there's a deity of yours being worshipped in your temples. According to Agamas, according to the scriptures, it should not be done so. And if it's done so, the person who's living will have to take the reactions of all the personalities, all the people who come and touch him, worship him. And that is the fundamental cause or reason for why you are suffering this bad. Prabhupada was patiently hearing, understood his heartfelt request or prayer, because any genuine devotee would want such a great acharya to continue to propagate the message of Krishna consciousness, and his fragile health was not pleasing to such Vaishnava. Then Prabhupada was hearing all his appeal and request and prayers and nodding off, and finally said, I knew this. I have appeared here in this Kali Yuga and I instructed for this purpose only. And I'll continue to do the same even after my physical departure. That is an acharya. So our God brothers on the other side can't understand this, can't appreciate this. And we are so extremely privileged and fortunate that we are able to see that. There's a live reciprocation in all our lives. Each one of us sitting here, whether it's a temple devotee or just a beginning practitioner of Krishna consciousness, there's a direct connection with the spiritual master, direct connection with Srila Prabhupada, although apparently he's not physically present. The famous July 9th letter where he says, all the disciples will be my disciples. They'll continue to remain my disciples. In institutional directive also, he insists that. That's the same thing here. Shukadeva Goswami is mentioning about Krishna. The same thing applies to Srila Prabhupada also. Just like by doing so, by glorifying, by remembering, by giving audience, by praying, by hearing and worshipping, what happens? At once cleanses the effect of all sins of the performer. Similarly, the same thing when you do it for the spiritual master, the same way, the same thing happens. Not only that, not only sin gets eradicated, we become eligible, qualified to even worship the Lord and serve Him lovingly. Otherwise, without even having a tinge of material desires, we cannot go back to Godhead. Out of desire, you have to come back. You have to take this body once again, any of the bodies. So when that verse was being discussed in one of Srila Prabhupada's class, that unless you are sent person, this is all famous, everyone knows this, multiple times you would have heard this pastime of Srila Prabhupada, where Prabhupada said, without that sent person purification, you cannot go back to Godhead. You need to be all in all. So when Prabhupada says that, so all the disciples, the Western disciples were unhappy. Now, how can we be all perfect, all good, sinless, pure, to go back to God and looking at ourselves? Unka halat dekhe, they never thought they will ever be able to achieve that goal of going back to God, Goloka Vrindavan. So they were all unhappy, morose. They could see in their faces. They were not able to even doze off hearing that. Because generally we doze off when we hear the Bhagavatam, correct? But at that point of time when they heard this, so they were taken aback. So looking at the condition of all his disciples, Prabhupada said, okay, 90%. Rukmini, Krishna, Satyabhama ki jai. So he reduced it to 90 to 80%. But the front benchers were all okay, because naturally front benchers are the one who is topper in sadhana, topper in bhakti shastri, topper in doing rendering devotional service. They were excited, apun jayega, 80% hum kar lega. Then baki jo middle wale, piche wale, they were a little upset. How can we do it? They can do it, but I don't think so. We have the capability to do so. So looking at their condition, Prabhupada finally reduced, okay, 70%, not less than that, cutting short the whole story. So they were also happy. Majority of the class were happy. 70%, okay, Mangalarti 10 means 3 Mangalarti means 73 Mangalarti I can still miss. 70% still I can go back to God. Something like that. They were calculating. The mercy was also getting calculated. So meanwhile, one devotee who represents all of us, most of us, he was not happy with that. What did he do? He went behind Prabhupada after the class. Then he was running behind Prabhupada. Prabhupada was going to his room, and Prabhupada, he called from behind and he offered his obeisances. He was little nervous and full of anxiety, and he had this question to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, I don't think so even 70% would be possible for me. I'm your worst of the disciple. There is no one more worse than me. But how will I be able to make it? And you all know the famous thing which Prabhupada said, you just catch hold of my dhoti. I have a special backdoor key for Goloka Vrindavana. I'll take you through that. So that is Srila Prabhupada for us. So just have to catch hold of the dhoti. Catch hold of the dhoti means the toppers, the durandars of devotees, they will be catch holding of the lotus feet very tightly, and they'll be good at sadhana, good at services, good at following regulative principles, excellent. Even the performance of devotional service, maybe fundraising for whatever other things are, they will be our number. But there will be majority, or few of them who will not be able to do it. Kehne ka matlab hai, even if you are not able to hold the lotus feet of the Lord tightly, or a spiritual master tightly, matlab strictly, at least don't quit the movement. Don't go out of this compound. Come what may, hold on to the dhoti means somehow survive in Krishna consciousness. And if you survive in Krishna consciousness throughout your breath, some of us senior Vaishnava, they say, only your dead body should go out of ISKCON. Only your dead body should go out of ISKCON. Somehow or the other, if you do it, but because when you're here, come what may, you have to be the part of the glorification. You have to be part of the remembrance. You have to be the part of the audience. You have to be the part of the prayers. You have to be the part of hearing. And you have to be the part of worship. Whether you like it, don't like it, want it, doesn't want it. By default, the system set up by Srila Prabhupada and his loving God brothers will make sure that you go through the process, you get the qualification. You may feel 70%. That is natural. No devotee will say that I'm 100% ready for this. Correct? Nobody will feel. Or everyone by default knows that we are not 100%. We are nowhere near even 40% or 50%. Correct? But because we survive, do devotional service in association of devotees, we survive. And that's why here, Namna balad yasya papa buddhis. But we should not do sinful activities consciously. Then there's a big challenge. That's why that is one of the offense. But the first offense, because you have to render devotional service amongst your God brothers. Correct? Independently, akele hum bhakti practice nahi kar sakte. And for us to render devotional service, the support of God brothers are highly important. If they are not there, whether senior, equals or juniors, if they are not there, you don't exist. You can't perform the way you're performing now, lovingly, without any hindrance, without any challenges. Apparently, the challenge is your uncontrolled mind, or challenge is your anarthas, or challenge is you yourself. For whatever reasons, you are not reaching the benchmark. That's why the first offense is First offense is to blaspheme a devotee who dedicated his life for propagating the glories of the holy name. Because by default, this is the challenge. Because you stay with those people who are doing so. He's also doing, he's also doing, he's also doing. He may be holding the lotus feet, he may be holding the dhoti, he may be holding the hand, but they are together. And if you don't work together, consciously respecting each God brother, then it becomes difficult. Majority of the devotees who quit the movement or who discontinue the services in the temple is because of their uncontrolled mind of not staying with the devotees. Amitasan Prabhu gives the example of porcupines. How many of you know porcupines? Porcupines. Porcupines is an animal, is small. It has got a lot of fins, which is very pricky. That is its defense mechanism. If any carnivorous animal tries to poach or attack, it will make sure that they had hard time to kill it. So, but these porcupines during winters, of course here you don't have winters, but winters, it becomes too much for them and they generally freeze to death. To avoid death, avoiding freezing death, what do? They stay together, they flock together, they be together. And because they stay together and have this uncommon hairstyle, uncommon bodily hairs, whatever you call fins or thorn type of things, so they pierce each other's body. You would have set an alarm at 3:30 or 4 o'clock. Your God brother would have got up at 3:45. Would you poke you? Hey, get up, yaar. Example, very crude example. Or in many ways, they would, of course, it would be piercing each other in a different ways and means. Oh, mera contact, aap tu kyun gaye? He is known to me. This is my area. Whatever, simple. Our challenge is what we know. So we keep pricking each other. We keep piercing each other. And because of which, at times, there's a bloodshed. There's oozing of blood. Sometimes it becomes even more severe. Okay, of course, it doesn't become so severe. And one such unfortunate, foolish porcupine god brother, what he does, he wants to avoid that pricking or pushing or harassment. According to him, not so. It is not harassment, obviously. It is transcendental devotional service rendered in the association of devotees. Is the highest form of devotional ecstasy which one can experience. So he goes out of the flock. Moment he goes outside the flock, the cold freezes him to death. He thinks, I can do it, I can manage myself. But he fails miserably. History is proof that anyone who goes outside the flock, his devotional service gets checked. Of course, whatever he has done is never goes in vain. That's the beauty. And whenever he gets a chance, yoga prashto bhi jayate, he again continues. But otherwise, generally it happens. Generally, even the attack of Maya happens. You may be in flock, but how does you get hunted? How do you become prey to the poachers? Is when you become weaker. You're 70%, you're 50%, you're gullible, but you don't want to be in the association of devotees. You miss Mangalarti, you miss Bhagavatam. You know, I know this story, I know the philosophy. Mujhe kya samjhayenge? I can do it. So what happens without your knowledge? Because you're puffed up, but I can do it, I'm still on the good level, you become weaker and weaker, and it's not visible to you. But the TC notices that and helps you out. But still you are in that state. So just like a tiger, when it preys, when he attacks a flock of deers, it doesn't attack randomly any deer and every deer. He identifies which deer is the weak. You have seen any videos? Oh, this deer is not having a good strength. It is limping. His sadhana score is less than 45%. Okay, he's doing a lot of offenses. He's going against the management. He's writing vlogs, example. So then the tiger slouches very slowly, and he's anyways disassociated with the flock. He is already weaker, and he chases only that one deer. And that deer, because he's thinking and feeling there is a top-notch deer, he tries to jump and run and swiftly move. But to his surprise, once upon a time he used to be like that. He's not able to run. He's not able to move swiftly like the days he used to do in Bhakta stage. He thought he's still in the same fire, although not doing the same repetition of exercises. He has lost his muscle. He's lost his strength. There's no dum there. And he gets hunted by the lion or tiger very easily. And then when the other flock wants to go and help him out, and still he's not ready to take the help. You've seen that leopard, it's a big meme. That leopard is there. Leopard is wanting to be helped. Why? The leopard is face is covered by a vessel. The vessel is stuck in the leopard's face. If you remove the vessel, he'll be saved, he'll go back. Similarly, that devotee is having this difficulty and we want to help him. But because of his attitude, because of this challenge that I am better, I know better than, I don't want to be part of the group, I don't want to cooperate, then we also having the bad experience of helping him, we don't associate with him, or we don't also help him out. And he slowly goes away. So that's why Prabhupada said, your love for me, please repeat this, your love for me will be judged how nicely you cooperate among yourself when I am no longer physically present. Here, physically, no longer physically. So how? By doing all these activities, we can get rid of the sinful tendencies, sinful reactions. Prabhupada is also no longer physically present. Still you can continue. So not only through his words, through his institutional directive, he has given us the direction that how one can render devotional service even without the physical presence of the Lord and even without the physical presence of the spiritual master. That's why he's called as spiritual master. He's not a physical master. Correct? समझ में आ रहा है आपको? So they don't get this. So here, the first line of the purport only, Srila Prabhupada says, the sublime form of religious performance. These are sublime form of religious performance. There are many religious performances. Actually, in this part of the world, they have lot of hard practices of religious performances. You have to pierce your tongue, so many. Of course, it's not called religious principles in that sense. But even though, if you consider it as religious performances, so it is very difficult, very painful, very hardships. Or even the regular authorized ones also, going to the forest, doing yajnas, doing meditation, constructing temples. All these challenges what we had for other ages people is not there for us. Ours is very susukum kartavavyam, joyfully performed. Prabhupada says, no, dance, feast, and do some preaching. It's joyfully performed. Sublime religious performance. And automatically by doing so, the thing which is stopping us, the thing which is making us to take birth again in different species is automatically gone. Khate khate back to Godhead. Nachte nachte back to Godhead. Sunte sunte back to Godhead. Dekhte dekhte back to Godhead. And even such wonderful thing, we fail to do so. That is our misfortune. And that is possible when you stay together with your loving God brothers. Cooperation, cooperation, cooperation. Just like 90s Indian cricket team or the current Pakistani cricket team. Sorry to use this example in the Bhagavatam platform. So they all used to play or are playing for their individual performances. They don't perform for the team. So when they don't perform there for the team, oh, Sachin has good scores. Okay, Babbar Azam has good scores. Correct? But the team is not winning at all. So you may have individual stars, individual performances. But unless you all together perform together, then you'll not be able to achieve what the Guru wants you to achieve. So that's why here it is mentioned, the reactions of sins is suggested herein by the greatest authority Sri Kushkudev Goswami. Kirtanam. Everything here in Hare Krishna movement or ISKCON is part of the Kirtanam. Whatever we do is Kirtanam. Right now we are doing Kirtanam because we are discussing Srimad-Bhagavatam. We are hearing, that is also Kirtanam. You glorify, preaching, that is also Kirtanam. So Shravanam, first we hear, then we do Kirtanam. So Shravanam is very important. What happens to all of us, those who are hearing right now and those who are chanting, we don't hear. हमको सुनने की आदत नहीं है. क्या नहीं है? जोर से बोलिए. हम सुनते नहीं हैं. ना चैंटिंग सुनते हैं, ना भागवतम सुनते हैं. अगर चैंटिंग हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र सुनने लगे, if we start hearing the Hare Krishna, is there anything which can stop our progress? We chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that means we do Kirtanam, but Shravanam is not happening of the Kirtanam. Agreed? The fan you are seeing on top, dekho fan, dekho fan. You remember as a kid, you used to make paper balls and used to hit, and it used to come back. So our mind is like that fan blades with 60,000 thoughts per day, average, whatever. So it's like continuously generating thoughts. And if you have to hit the ceiling, you have to forcefully throw the paper ball. Then it hits the ceiling. Otherwise, you cannot hit the ceiling. The RPM is too high. ऐसे फेंकोगे तो आराम से आ जाएगा. The same way, chant कर रहे हैं. It's not touching the soul the way it has to touch. What it needs to do? It needs to be heard. When we hear the chanting, if Krishna enters our system, now Krishna is just touching and going, touching and going, touching and going. If we get inside and if it goes here, then all the kachara which we have been bought in through this will get thrown away. And love for him will be naturally developed. See, sunna to tumhe padega. You cannot say, I will not hear. I always tell, या प्रभु का सुनो या बाबू का सुनो, या प्रभु का सुनो या बाबू का सुनो. सुनना तो तुम्हें पड़ेगा. या बॉस का सुनो या प्रभु का सुनो. तो मीन्स डिवोटीज. बॉस मीन्स बॉस, वाइफ, बाबू मीन्स वाइफ और गर्लफ्रेंड. सुनना तो पड़ेगा. सो व्हाई डोंट यू हियर कृष्णा? एंड जिसका तुम सुनते हो, बोलिए बोलिए, उसका हो जाते हो. Whom you hear, you become theirs. अजी सुनते हो? टप्पू के पापा सुनते हो? समझ रहे हो? Because he kept on hearing and he became hers. Similarly, whomever you hear, that's why Kirtanam can be done provided we hear. Glorification can be done provided we hear. So hearing is the bottom line. Kirtanam is the bottom line. These two things, lotus feet of the Lord, Shravanam and Kirtanam, this has to be nourished, manured, watered, taken care. Then the Bhakti Lata Bija will grow. Otherwise, the Bhakti Lata Bija will be eaten by some anarthas, puja, pratishtha, labha, anarthas will eat it. So that's why we have to be extremely careful to keep on nurturing. Because once we stop this hearing, if the chanting becomes thinking japa, if the chanting becomes processing japa, you will be chanting, but you'll be getting the benefit, but still you'll not be getting benefit. Just like you are traveling in a cycle from here to railway station. That is the speed at which your progress will happen when you chant without hearing. But when you chant and hear, what will be the progress? Speed of mind, you're already there. So hearing is important. Yeah. Here the one thing which I remembered when I was reading this purport. Even the very sound of the holy name of Lord Krishna or Rama can at once surcharge the atmosphere spiritually. It happens. Even in a place where all the sinful activities are performed, when devotees go for kirtan, that place becomes automatically surcharged. During Prabhupada's time, there are a lot of devotees who became devotees just because that Sankirtanam. Prabhupada said, remember, don't worry about too much of, a wonderful classical way of singing with wonderful music. If we go there sincerely from the core of your heart, you do the Sankirtana, a sincere soul will assemble there. He has told this, remember? Similarly, it has been happening in reality. So during those days, when they do go for Kirtan, jo hippies and non-hippies hai, they hear this Kirtan and they go along with the Kirtan team, Sankirtana team, back to the temple. There are so many devotees who have joined temple like that. They would be doing a Kirtan in the beaches where all sinful activities happening live. On the streets of New York, where everything is happening on the street, hippies. But when you do the Kirtan in such horrible conditions, what happens? One surcharges the atmosphere spiritually. So that spirit, the Atma, gets surcharged spiritually, and just like the irons gets attracted to the magnet, these spirits get attracted to the spiritually surcharged jivas who are in connection with the Supreme Spirit. And they go together, and they flock together, and they stay together, and they go back home, back to Godhead together. Happened, no? See, 2 decades ago, this place was a sinful place. This resort, where Dakshina Dwarka is situated, was a sinful place, highly sinful place. But few devotees came here. And वो बोलते ना, वक्त बदल दिया, जज्बात बदल दिया, हालत बदल दिया. देखो, see today what is happening. From such a sinful resort to a transcendental abode of the Lord, Vaikuntha, Dwarka. Just imagine. And that too without the physical presence of the spiritual master. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? That is the magic. And they don't consider that he's not physically present. For us, Prabhupada is there always guiding us. And each disciple who was trying to render, has felt that presence. In the pages of Srimad-Bhagavatam, in their lives. And this is a duty of that disciple to glorify, to eulogize, to remember, to pray, to worship such a spiritual master. As good as the Supreme Lord. Not because he's Supreme Lord, but he should be treated as a Supreme Lord. You remember during the 1966-67, when the first initiation ceremony was performed, they were all had assembled. So before the initiation ceremony, the previous day, so they were having discussion with Prabhupada. And during the discussion, Prabhupada was telling, once you get initiated, you should accept the spiritual master as good as God, as good as Krishna. All along throughout the year, Prabhupada was bashing, no. A human being cannot be God. In that context, if he tells he's God, he's not God, he's DOG. And suddenly, this disciple said, Swami ji ko kya ho gaya? All along he was telling something, and tomorrow, because he had to take initiation, telling, treat me like God. Of course, they were not able to comprehend that, but eventually they understood. So that is the principle. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasad. Sakshat haritvena samasta shastras. It's not the absolute truth, but he should be revered like an absolute truth. He knows whatever is required for us. There are many disciples of Prabhupada, they would meet him for the first time, and they would have a lot of things in their heart to tell to Prabhupada. They were feeling such some finer sentiments. So Prabhupada just would reciprocate accordingly. Like a Paramatma, he acts for his disciple because he wanted that. So there is power of a bona fide spiritual master, and he's telling, I'm going to stay. People accuse sometimes, oh, आप भी द्रोणाचार्य जैसे, एकलव्य जैसे कर रहे हो. एकलव्य ने भी, द्रोणाचार्य से, ऐसे ही with the deities के सामने लेके धनुर्वेद सीख लिया. तो आप भी deity के सामने लेके जबरदस्ती दीक्षा ले रहे हो. Correct, no? They accuse. But answer to that accusation is, Dronacharya said, don't do this. He forbade him from taking, and for which he was punished also. Ekalavya. And later on the Lord also punishes. Because he displeased the spiritual master. What will Lord do? Lord only killed him, no? Ekalavya. Correct? But in our case, our beloved spiritual master said, I am available. Wherever my disciple wants, in whichever condition he wants, I am ready to guide him. And he is guiding through his books. We want someone who can do this. You want someone who can do this. And for that, Prabhupada has set up a system of temple commanders, assistant temple commanders, trainers, president. So they'll do that. But provided you cooperate with them, the training will happen swiftly. Correct? And even when Prabhupada was physically present, this was happening. How was Prabhupada doing that? Through the system which is set up. And it's a transcendental setup. Nowhere such system exists in the history of the universe. According to our information, what we have information, maybe it would be there, but currently. And that's why it is difficult for them to comprehend. How is it possible? How is it possible? Tradition mein nahi hai, parampara mein nahi hai. No, when we had that series of Suyukta Narasimha Prabhu bashing them, so in one comment, they were telling it's tradition mein nahi hai, parampara mein nahi hai, no other acharya has ever set up like this. How come you people are mental concocting? So one of our devotee, he gives the reply. He says, if that is the case, if you have to follow the parampara, if you would have followed the tradition, if you would have followed the setup of Vedic culture, none of you would have got initiation. What to speak of becoming guru? Correct, no? आपको दीक्षा भी नहीं मिलेगा. गुरु तो दूर की बात है. Otherwise, those who are born in such families are expected to get Brahmana Diksha or expected to become gurus, according to the parampara and all. Now, Prabhupada has made such a wonderful system. It is difficult for them to comprehend. So, the one thing which Prabhupada mentions here, as I said in the earlier point also, we have to be extremely careful on one thing. That is, one is sure to get free from the reaction of sins, provided one is very careful about not committing sins willingly, in expectation of getting freed from the reaction of worshipping in the temple or offering prayers at the church. This we have to be consciously careful. Yeah, we have anarthas, we have challenges, we have difficulties. It derails us, it retards us, it makes us go through snail pace. Come what may, you struggle, you be there. Let it be slow, doesn't matter, but never quit the moment. Because everybody's journey is in a different pace. Not all of us are in the same pace. There are 100 students, somebody will be topper, somebody will be average. So, but everybody is going to pass to the next class. If they pass, 35%. And that 35%, Prabhupada has said, hold my dhoti. Mean to say, you just be in the class, just be in the class, I'll pass you. From this world to that world. But don't quit my class, be in my class. Take me as your spiritual master and don't leave me. I'll not leave you. Even if you leave, even if you leave, Prabhupada will not leave. There are so many instances. One instance I want to remember, this disciple was there with Prabhupada during his Prabhupada's physical Leela, Prakata Leela. His name is Prataputra Das. You might know. Happening, wonderful devotee. But when Prabhupada left during the commotion, he also left. And he went back to his old habits, rock and roll, women, substance. And he was diagnosed with AIDS. And he was on his deathbed. And the doctor and the nurse were taking care of him. The first years had come because generally the senior doctor will call the freshers to see how a man dies. You see how his pulse drops, how he becomes dead. So there are a lot of doctors, would-be doctors assembled there in the room, and the senior doctors also there. And in that reclining bed, he was there. He was hardly moving, hardly breathing. Suddenly, he turned his head, sat on the bed, turned towards the door, and he said, Prabhupada, you came, had tears in his eyes, and dropped dead. Where you would have gone? So that is the spiritual master. He has left the moment. Now, Prabhu, I'll also take the challenge. Let me see whether that happens or not. Don't be foolish. What to speak of the devotee who has rendered devotional service like that? So one instance where Prabhupada was in Vrindavan and a disciple came and told about one of the disciples of Bhakti Siddhanta, I forget his name, he passed away. That information was given to Srila Prabhupada. And he was the one responsible for all the chaos in Gaudiya Math. He was responsible for all the problem which Prabhupada and his disciple faced in Mayapur and in Vrindavan and in India. And Prabhupada thought for a while after hearing this news. He said he went back to Godhead. All the devotees were shell-shocked. Huh? ये कैसे हो सकता है? How is it possible? Prabhupada understood what disciples are thinking. Then he said, whatever it might be, my spiritual master was pleased with his service. You get this? Whatever it might be, my spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta, was pleased with his service. So what do you get this from? The goal of human life is to somehow or other satisfy the self-realized, authorized, bona fide spiritual master coming in parampara. You just have to please. And he's easily pleased. And easily pleased. Agreed to be pleased with whatever emotion you have. He'll never forget. Just like Krishna. Krishna will not forget even a tinge of devotional service you render to him, knowingly, unknowingly. Agnata Sukriti also. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada also. You have attended one class. Just like when Prabhupada was giving class in New York, there was one hippie who came in and replaced the क्या बोलते वो toilet paper. The toilet. There's no toilet paper. So he came, he didn't sit in the class, he was already in substance, high. He came and he kept the toilet paper. Swalpa masya yasya dharmasya trayato mahatam. If Salpa can elevate somebody to that level where your spiritual master at the time of death come to the hospital and takes you from that hospital back to Godhead, what to speak of someone who is fully dedicated, who's in the moment till his last breath, who's dying on the battlefield. यहाँ पे गोली लगी है, छाती पे, war पे, on the frontal war. What to speak of him? Paramvir Chakra, correct? And what to speak of Prabhupada? Just like many places, today we are talking about Islamic revolution. Prabhupada says, anyone who preaches in the Islamic countries, I'm ready to take the dust from his lotus feet and apply on my head. Hedam karega. Preaching karega. Even the attempt, even the feeling is also appreciated. That is the beauty of devotional service. See, in Kali Yuga, the beauty is you have to do grossly sinful activity to get the sinful reaction. Correct? But the beauty of Kali Yuga again is, even if you think of devotional service, you get the benefit of devotional service. And what to speak when you're thinking of pleasing Srila Prabhupada with your service. Imagine the amount of quantum of benefit you get. So, kena prakarana, some or the other, be in the devotional service under Srila Prabhupada, render whatever possible. Don't think I am the lowest, मुझसे नहीं हो पाएगा, अगले life में देखेंगे. Don't rant and crib and cry like that. Just somehow or the other survive. Be here. Because somehow you survive, somehow be here, you will not be in the same status. None of us, you just remember, the day you came to Krishna consciousness, or before the day you came to Krishna consciousness, the day you came to Krishna, 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 year, you're not the same person. We got transformed, we got changed. And that change is happening very, very slowly, very, very swiftly. Depends upon Iyatam aprapadyante tam sateva bhajamya. But continue to stay here. And you don't know when you become qualified. And even if you don't become qualified, Madhu Pandit Prabhu in his famous viral shot, he said, even at last moment, just like the dhoti's meaning only, catching hold of the, even if you're not qualified, Prabhupada at the last moment, because you survived, you never gave up. There was guru issue, there was problem with the water, there was problem with the AC, there was problem with the fan, there was problem with the other god brothers. I survived. You survived. And last moment, le lo, hamara aadmi hai. And Krishna cannot say no. Because he's Prabhupada's man. So that is the power of a bona fide spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. So let us seriously take up this mission and surrender. Because Prabhupada says, unless educated, talented, high pedigree youngsters have not taken this moment seriously, there's no future for this mission. Today, there is a huge layoffs all across the tech world. But still, to get someone from the AI field, they are ready to pay thousands of crores for one person. I heard if it is 2,300 crore for one AI expert, they have hired. Why they want to hire the best talent? Because they want to conquer. They have their agenda, they have their goals. Similarly, the best of the fruits, best of the flowers has to be offered in the service of the mission of the Lord. Prithviti nagaradi gramadi sarvatra pracharya hoibe mora naam. That's a task, that's a goal, that's a mission of the spiritual master. Anyone who helps in the mission is recognized by the Lord. For that to happen, we need the best of the men. Even if you're not best of the men, you have that desire, मुझे कुछ करना है, मुझे करना है कुछ. Prabhupada के लिए, that itself is sufficient. And whatever is required is automatically given to us. Mukam karoti vachalam, pangum langayate girim. है ना? We are not only mukha, we are dumb and deaf and handicapped altogether. But when Guru empowers, it will happen. That's what happened to all those disciples who desired to please Prabhupada in this pre-77. They thought that they are doing it. We should also not be in that illusion, that we should not think that we are doing it. मैंने मंदिर बनाया, मैंने सबको join कराया. Just like that, there's a small video where the kid is the son of a weightlifter. Okay? The kid, is just 4 years old or 5 years old. He's trying to imitate his father lifting. And suddenly from behind, father lifts. And the kid is very happy. Prabhu mandir ban gaya, Prabhu bacche join ho gaye. Donation mil gaya. And you should know who is doing it. That's why there's a beautiful prayer of Srila Prabhupada, the mood of how we should render devotional service. That is reflected in this Markain Bhagavat. When Prabhupada was in the Jaladuta on board, when he was about to deboard Jaladuta, he compiles that beautiful prayer. Make my words suitable for their understanding. Make my words suitable for their understanding. If you so desire, if you so wish, you have brought me to this horrible place. It's so humid. Nobody is interested. All are Christians, all are Muslims. The Hindus are not interested. Nobody listens to us. Make my words suitable for their understanding. I'm a puppet in your hands. Make me dance the way you want me to dance. You're born with this. There should be some purpose. There should be some goal. Let that purpose, let that goal which you have for me be fulfilled. So when you have that kind of a mood, if something happens, you're not elated. You're not thrilled. Yeah, Guru has sanctioned it. and it is not happening, you're depressed, demoralized, nobody's there, still Lord didn't sanction. So Lord is in control, I'm in his control, my devotional service should continue, and Lord will send. The devotional service itself is a success. There's no failure in devotional service, because devotional service itself is a success. So that should be the spirit of devotees. And problems आएंगे, but bhakti continue करनी चाहिए. And they say gamble one life for Krishna, and we say gamble half life for Krishna. Half life to gaya. And in that half life also, half will go for sleeping, half will go for the morning sadhana. Anyways, that will happen otherwise. So baki 1/4 whatever is, and that will go in festivities, devotional service. Chill. यहाँ पे भी मज़ा, यहाँ के बाद वहाँ पे भी मज़ा. Only a third class, 10th rate fool will not accept such a lifestyle. We stop at here, unless you have any questions or comments. भूख लग रही है सबको. विश्व गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की